Welcome to day 4, which is being recorded on day 5 because day 4 was an absolute shit show. Let's get into why. Alright, so this was the plan for day 4. Take whatever we had from day 3, get it live on our server, verify through an endpoint that we could create these custom files, that they could spin up images, and that the domain that our customer has chosen would actually route to their blog, and then have plenty of time to create an onboarding flow. This is not what happened at all. Basically, this was my life yesterday. And what it really boiled down to was that there was some pathing issues and there was typos, or specifically there was one typo that took me forever to figure out. So yeah, let me walk you through what happened. All right, so the day started out pretty chill. We had to add some dependencies to our Docker image so that we can actually call Docker Compose from our image. And that meant changing from a Scratch image to a Debian 12.6, installing Docker, and then that was pretty much taken care of. Next up, we generate this Docker Compose file for each customer we onboard, and we want a way for Docker image and the host system to share those files so that our server could also act as a backup and also be the one responsible for storing the files and the Docker instance on the server running those files, right? And that simply just meant adding a volume on the Docker Compose files for the app here on the server. And then we need to give the Docker image access to the Docker instance running on the server so that they could actually spin up images through our Docker service, for our Docker start container command. Pretty straightforward, simply adding some volumes and a little bit of things to the Docker file. But then this was also where the problem started to occur. Exit status 18 would become the thing that haunted my life yesterday and started my descent into madness. I couldn't for the life of me figure out what this thing meant. There was nothing in the standard library. I Googled and Googled and Googled and I couldn't find any answer because it didn't seem to be a standard error message. I asked our AI overlords. They were like, nope, this does not seem to be a standard error message, a status. This is maybe related to permissions. So I started digging into permissions and I went down a deep rabbit hole of traffic setup and Docker networking. Now, I am sure I tested it out locally in Docker on my machine and it was working. And it was not working on the server, which was super weird since I am on a Ubuntu distro, base distro at least here on my local machine, which is the same thing my servers use. So if it works on my machine, it works on the server, right? But it didn't. I'm pretty sure I was just tired because I tested it out today and the same error that happened on the server also happened on my machine. So what ended up being the cause for this was pathing. So the way I usually build my Docker image is I start with working directory to be /. And when I then called working directory from the Docker image, it would return a /, but I had already put a / in the path, right? So it became / whatever. So of course you couldn't find the file I was trying to point it to. It would literally just be like, this doesn't exist. And that was what apparently exit status 18 meant. Or at least when I hard-coded the path to something I knew existed and I realized I put 2 slashes on, it started working. And this is just one of those things where in hindsight is so obvious. But after coding for 8 hours, this does not occur to me until very, very late. So fixing that, I could now actually spin up the Docker images on the server. I could verify they were running, but for some reason, traffic would not point traffic to those images. And whenever I would copy paste code from another image I had that was running with traffic, it would start working. So that was the next step, what is going on here? And that led down a rabbit hole of everything traffic have in the documentation to is there something specific with the way I generate the compose file, or what is happening? And it turned out to be one single typo. Alright, so the typo error that haunted me for most of yesterday was related to traffic, where you need to provide some labels to traffic in order for it to start serving traffic to your services. And the ones that I generate here was based on stuff that I already had working, right? So I couldn't figure out for the life of me, why is this not working? And it was literally these labels here that traffic used to discover and find services. I mean, as long as it's on the same network here, everything is good. And it would not work unless I copy pasted these labels from a working service into the generator service, change the naming so it matched the service name right here. So the service name is this one, and the labels down here also need to have that service name. It was not working, and I couldn't figure out why. And probably it's because I need some more discipline when I copy paste stuff.
You lack discipline!
Nuh-uh, don't lack a discipline!
So I'm gonna show you the picture now and see if you can spot the error. Do you see it? I put a C instead of a K, and that was why the service was not enabled and therefore was not discoverable. This was the reason why I spent so many hours yesterday racking my brain of making this work. It was one typo. So yeah, that was fun, but it's working now, and we can get on to day 5, where we will be working on getting the onboarding flow done so that we can actually start having customers sign up and start building blocks. And because I spent so much time on this yesterday, I'm really strapped for time. But you know, let's try and make something happen. Like, it's going to be super scrappy, but if people can sign up and launch a block by the end of Friday, I will be super happy. So see you in the next one.